Delta Broadcasting Service. Part of our job description is propagating government policies and programs. So far, it's been a little bit easy, the job, because the sheriff in town, the governor of Delta State, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevwori, has been doing more, trying to ensure that Deltans get a good feel of his particular administration. Well, they say a man is as good as his foot soldiers. Right here with us is one who is mostly at the center of many of it all. He is the Commissioner for Works, Rural and Public Information. He's my boss. He is Mr. Charles Aniago. It's good to have you on the program.
Good morning.
I'm going to get a handshake. Good morning.
Thank you. It's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you too.
Good morning, sir. Welcome to Morning Ride.
Good morning. How are you, blessed?
I must warn, this is going to be a very fast interview because we have 30 minutes. And we've got so many questions. A time might not be able to spare. So
you are wanting me to make it short?
Yeah, we're going to make it brief. We're going to do the broadcasting style. Keep it short and simple. And let God handle the rest. Now, first of all, my personal longing question is very simple. Commissioner for Works, Rural and Public Information. That's quite onerous. That's quite honorable. But how do you manage it all? And what's your top priority?
Well, thank you very much, and good morning, Deltans. And for me, I must appreciate God Almighty for the enablement, and then also recognize the fact that His Excellency the Governor has also found me worthy to be able to assist him in these two key areas that you have mentioned. And I want to believe that it's becoming quite easier because the governor is performing in a number of areas. So giving out those information is easy. And then also good enough, I have a couple of hands in both ministries. In the Ministry of Information and the Ministry of Roads, specifically rural and then riverine roads. And so working with them makes a whole lot of things quite easy. And don't forget, I've also been around for quite a while now. Yes. So navigating through the murky waters of politics and working with the civil servants has become a little more easier with the knowledge of hindsight. So it is easy for me to relate with them. I can be here with a phone call, please do this, I'm coming to the office. Just come there. You need to organize and then lead the people. And then once in a while, we also go to the field to see what is happening. Right. The same thing in the Ministry of Information. So by the grace of God, through the assistance of my colleagues, their cooperation, and then of course, the very wonderful support from the governor, we are pushing through.
Okay. Now let's talk about Delta State and let's talk about Governor Sheriff Oborevwori. In line with his assurance to Deltans during and after electioneering, Governor Sheriff Oborevwori has kept faith with his promise that he will complete all inherited projects inherited from the previous administration. That aside, may we know how many projects his administration has embarked upon, especially in critical areas like road, education, housing?
Well, I can tell you that he has embarked upon over hundreds, of course, since you talked about in all the areas. So you're talking about in excess of 600 different projects.
600?
Right? Yes, over different, not just roads. Okay. I'm talking across board, in particular in the area of housing and health. You know, these are then, of course, you add the judiciary. These are the major areas where we now have certain levels of fiscal infrastructure. Then in the area of roads, we inherited about 377 different road projects across the divide, and then in the course of time, over 200 has been awarded, and they were pushing them vigorously. And by the grace of God, the pilot scheme now, our intention is to be able to see how we can improve the housing situation in a number of the local government areas. We are starting with a pilot scheme in 3 local government areas, in Kwale, in Ozoro, and of course in Eka North East, where we have 50-50 units, 30 units of 3-bedroom and 2 units of 2-bedroom in each of these 3 local government areas. We are going to, like I said, it's a pilot scheme. So which means we're also going to replicate same in a number of other local government areas so as to improve the housing situation. We are also building quarters for judges. You know, like if you come to this town, you have commissioners' quarters, you have House of Assembly quarters. Those are two arms of government. Then the third arm, Brewery is now also trying to provide housing accommodation for the judges. And so that is going on. Then in the area of hospitals, recall I mentioned the specific areas where we are doing some fiscal infrastructure. We are renovating and revamping no fewer than 150 health centers. And then we have established the University of the College of Health Technology in Uvrode.
Housing. And people, the conversation has been on. If you listen to our programs on radio and television, callers call and complain about the cost of living in terms of getting a house in Asaba or in other urban areas of the state. So how soon are we going to see dividends of the housing projects by the governor of the state?
Now let's come to the first leg of your question, which is the issue of the complaints about cost of housing. I recall one of my interviews with you, specifically you, Wise, I was around as the then Commissioner for Information. I mentioned that you do not go into a rotten mouth and begin to search for a healthy teeth. So which means there's a relationship between a mouth that is rotten and a teeth that is not healthy because they live in the same environment. Now, when you now bring it up to the wider economic issues, once there is a challenge with the national economy, living within that economy, you will be a beneficiary of that challenge, either negatively or positively. Now, because of the devaluation triggered largely by certain policies of the East, so there is a very big gap, like if you take it to like the Thomas Malthus theory of production, where he talked about geometric progression in terms of food, in terms of population, and an arithmetic progression in terms of food production. Now, there has been a geometric rise in expenditure, no thanks to the devaluation of our currency, but an arithmetic progression in terms of what you earn. Today, you have a minimum wage across board of 70,000 naira, even if for people to be able to live their life and build their houses. That is number one, and that's what Ubrowori is doing. Now, the other one you are talking about is intervention.
Yes.
Opposition may call it tokenism. It's intervention, like when we are building these units of houses. For instance, if you build 50 units, which may cost you some reasonable, possibly billions of naira, because even if you are using 30 million, for instance, to build a 2-bedroom flat with where we are now, but it's livable. For you to build a 2-bedroom flat that's livable, somebody may say 30 million, but you go and try and see whether before you finish whether you have not exhausted 30 million. Now, if you let's assume that it's 30 million, times it by 50, that's 1.5 billion. Now, by the time you bridge which links the people of Ndukwa West to Ndukwa East, we have completed Obi Babu, we are building Otabono Ewishi, we are building in the Emili Otabono, we are also at the same time we have completed the Idumwetiti Street in Oworo Lobo. We have also been able to award and is ongoing Aliu Simiyo Wanta. We have also built a road in the DPP, what they call now, DDPA, road in Abo. Okay. We are building Amai, a street, one particular street in Amai, which of course is in Okwane. Okay. And then let me move away from that. I don't want to, because I know the ones of Asaba, you have seen the things the governor is doing here. Now let us also move out and then go to the south. We have commissioned the MFO phase 1 in what's it called, Isuko North. We are building, what is it called now? The Olomoro Ibide Road of about 4.7 kilometers. In our 100 days in office, we commissioned the phase 2 of Welenwe. The Welenwe Bridge linking up to Weru is almost now ready for people to make use of it. We are building the Okontu Ogulaha Road in Borutu.
I think you mentioned
Now we have also completed the Adabra
of it all. For the contractor of it all. For the contractors who have been erring suspect. For those who want the road to work properly, hero. But how's it been going so far? First of all, what action will be taken? Let's go straight to it. If the contractor handling the Izelasaba Utlu Road project fails to speed up work, I think you went there, you were very hard on that.
Yeah, we're very, very clear on what we're going to do. It's a marching order from the governor. And it's not only me. It's also a marching order to every commissioner that has a project.
Commissioners as well?
Yes. It's not every commissioner it's not every minister that gets involved in capital projects. There are those who are engaged in policies or programs. You could have programs. For instance, if you talk about these empowerment programs, they are not fiscal structures. They are programs to enhance the living standard of the people by improving their businesses. Now, the governor has made it clear that any contractor who refuses to adhere to quality will excuse us. And so people may make the mistakes, okay, this man, when you went to his job, you saw that he did not do this drain well. How come you give him another contract? That you gave your tailor a dress to sew for you, and he forgot to add one button somewhere. Ability to add button becomes consistent. You know the biblical story of Sodom and Gomorrah, where God was speaking to Lot, that if you can find even 5 persons who are righteous in this community, what did he say? He said, I will forgive them and I will spare the community. In our everyday life, that is called waiver, which means for the good of 5 people, I will forgive the others. Now, how do I mean? If a contractor has done 10 roads, and it happens that in one of the roads there's an error, once you go there, you tell him, please, this error, please change it, and he changes it. You can't give him another work. Because otherwise, people will say, when we went to that place, another job. Right. So meanwhile, the company is just a name. So we are not going to be looking at only the name of the company. We will also we will try to unveil, in law, they unveil the prospectus, and then see the promoters of the company, so that they are not hiding under just the name of the company as a limited liability. We will extend that liability to them by unveiling the decision and then see those behind it, so that when they go and hide under Iseluku, we will tell them no. We are hoping that any moment from now that relocation is done, and then for us to be able to them to proceed with the same speed. They are moving with speed. A whole lot of fabrication have been done. If you go to their yard, as soon as that is done, the same speed will come back. Okay. Of course, we're also considering the issue of some form of reviews. It is necessary. We need to tell ourselves the truth. You have mentioned the issue of houses, rent going up, and I explain why. The same principle. The bag of cement, when we awarded the job, is no longer what the bag of cement is today. The rods they are using to build, the asphalt, bitumen,